Ciao everyone and welcome back. Today I want to share with you my trip to Kenya. I hope you can relax watching this, and I hope you can also learn new things and maybe feel a little bit of the joy I felt during this trip. I really hope I can send this feeling to you. So let's start from the beginning. It takes around 8 hours by plane to go from Milan to Mombasa. So thank you Manta Sleep for this useful sleeping mask. And plus we had to stop over Zanzibar in Tanzania, so the whole trip was like 12 hours in total. Finally, we arrived and we found the jeeps ready to take us to Tsavo West, which was our first safari destination. While we traveled towards Tsavo West and make a little stop to eat lunch and buy some souvenirs, I'll just give you some information about Kenya. It is located in the east part of Africa and its capital is Nairobi. It's July now and here is winter, so it's not super hot and it's quite a great weather actually. But it can change depending on the city because Kenya is literally crossed by the equator, so there are several different environments and landscape, as we are going to see. So here we are at the gates of Tsavo West, very tired but super excited to see the animals here and explore the savannah, which is the kind of surroundings we will see during the safari, and consists of very dry land with few bushes and trees. I think you've seen Lion King, right? Kenya has a lot of safari areas you can visit, and on this trip we're going to visit Tsavo East, Tsavo West and Amboseli. This is an organized trip, of course, because I don't think driving with my Toyota Go in a place with lions and hyenas is safe, and also the drive of the right hand side. So luckily, even if the native language is Swahili, people speak English and a lot of them speaks very good Italian as well, so we had no problem communicating. Tsavo East is of course a part of the Tsavo Park, which is the biggest natural park in the country. We're talking about almost 22,000 square kilometers, which is almost like the entire region of Tuscany. And Tsavo is actually the name of the river that crossed the park. Safari in Swahili means journey, and it really feels like it. I've been in Kenya something like 15 years ago with my family, and it was such an amazing life-changing experience that I had to bring my boyfriend here as well. We are doing 3-4 days of safari, and then we're going to move on the coast to enjoy the beautiful Indian Ocean, and we paid around 2,000 euros each, flights included. And luckily we were able to pay in installments. It was not cheap but definitely worth it. You will agree with me, especially when I'm going to show you the lodge in the savannah where we're going to sleep. The travel agency told us no vaccinations were required, and I was surprised because the first time that I came here, I had to do several vaccinations. Right now, we are on a jeep of 7 passengers plus the driver, and we specifically paid a little extra for the jeep because otherwise you can go on a little bus with more people. I almost immediately, you can see here some naughty lions. Oops. And okay, I almost immediately fell in love with the people who were traveling with us, and it's not so obvious, I think, finding some random people who were so nice and funny and who you are comfortable with. So it was really painful for me to say goodbye to them at the end of the holiday. The driver also was super nice and taught us some Swahili words. For example, jambo means hello. Hakuna matata means no problem. Pole pole means slowly. Haraka haraka means fast. Asante sana means thank you. Abarigana means how are you. The driver was constantly in contact with the other drivers so they could inform each other about the sightings of the animals, and it was really exciting standing in the jeep trying to spot the rarest animal like the cheetah and leopards, even if I have a giant bruise on my arm because the soil was full of holes and the jeep kept bouncing, and the whole safari was, as they called it, a free African massage. It sounds terrible, but it was really funny. And the soil is also very dusty, so recommend wearing sunglasses to protect your eyes. As you have seen, me and my boyfriend really wanted to have a real Jurassic Park / Indiana Jones look, so we put a lot of effort in our outfits. When we arrived at the airport, we sent our big luggage to the hotel because for the safari we just need to have a little backpack, so we needed carefully to decide what to put there. Here we are at our first lodge in the savannah where we are going to spend the first night. Spending the night in these lodges is one of the greatest things about the safari because your window will overview the water holes where animals come to drink, so it's really magical. And the first time I came to Kenya, I slept in tents, and it was a crazy experience as well, but it's not so much different because we are talking about very luxurious tents. Lodges are a little more comfortable and insect free, I guess. And our camp here, as you can see, just it's surrounded by animals, our lodge. And when you arrive at the lodges after a day in the jeep, you are happy but tired. And it's really nice relaxing in your bed under the mosquito net, and they enjoy the silence and lack of Wi-Fi. In this kind of organized trip, the food is included, so we could also enjoy the simple but delicious food from Kenya. Mostly it was chicken, rice, vegetables and fruits, and I really love the way these were cooked with spices and herbs. So let's start a new day towards Tsavo West. And here's some hippos, but we couldn't go nearer because it seems they are quite dangerous. So Tsavo West, it's famous because there is the rhino sanctuary here, which is great because it's very difficult to see a rhino. I'll show you it in a little while though. In 1940, I'll give you just some information about the park. In 1940, there were 20,000 of black rhinos. I don't know if you say it rhinos or rhinos in Tsavo, but by 1989 they were less than 20 as a result of poaching. This is a termite mound and a rock irex on the right, which is really cute and looks a little bit like my guinea pigs. So the rhino sanctuary is an area of 9,000 square meters, we're going to say it, and it's protected. And right now there are 120 rhinos, so they are growing. Now there are more, and in fact rhino is one of the so-called big five of savannah that everyone wants to see. So the big five are lion, leopard that we unfortunately won't see, rhino, elephant and African buffalo. And I have to apologize because in Tsavo West I'd seen a pack of warthogs that looked exactly like Pumbaa from the Lion King, and unfortunately I couldn't find the videos. I'm sorry. But what was crazy about Tsavo West though was the lodge, because the restaurant of this lodge overview drinking all, so we could enjoy again the company of two of these big five. I'm talking about elephant and buffaloes. And near the pool, we could enjoy the visit of some rocky irex again, and they're super cute, and you can see them jumping. And this is it's not in our lodge actually, this is in Tsavo West, and I really like the color of this landscape with the red sands. It was really beautiful. So there are some zebras actually. And back to the lodge, our room was on the ground floor, and we had a special view of the savannah, and animals were really near to our balcony. And at some point we had to close the window because that baboon was too near, and they told us that monkeys are really dangerous and naughty. And you can see right now how naughty they are. And oh my god, this makes me sad because I really wanted to pet a monkey, but now I don't want to have nothing to do with them anymore. Very bad. So here's the sanctuary I told you about, and you can see on the right there is the rhino sleeping. So it wasn't moving, it's not moving, but yeah, that's the rhino. And we were actually hoping to see another super rare animal tonight, and I'm talking about a cheetah. Every night the staff of this lodge places a piece of meat over this sort of framework made of wood, and the guests wait for the cheetah to appear. And sometimes it comes, sometimes it's just not hungry. And instead tonight the meat was spotted by a hyena that I couldn't get on camera because it was too dark. But you can see the framework here. But in the end the hyena decided not to come over because a piece of meat hanging from a piece of wood looked too suspicious, I guess. And also maybe because there were a lot of elephants nearby. By the way, here we are ready for a new day. Every day we woke up around 5 or 5:30 in the morning, so thank God I have decided not to wear makeup so I could save more time. It was very nice to see the sun rising, and this routine also helped me to empty my mind from everything else. You would think I was exhausted at the end of the day, and in a way I was, but I felt also relaxed and again empty. empty from stress, work, responsibilities. And I just felt like completely absorbed by this adventure, and my life in Italy really seems just a memory. It was a really strange feeling again, I guess. So right now we are again at Tsavo West. We are we are going towards Amboseli, but right now we are again at Tsavo West. In Tsavo West, and again at Tsavo West, we are going to stop to see the Shaytani lava, which is a really important place in Tsavo West because it's the largest of a whole series of lava flows in the park, which is named after the Swahili word for devil or malevolent ghost. And as you can see, this is the area I'm talking you about. It's of course it's quite dark and different from the savannah because there is like the pieces of lava everywhere. This video of the antelopes is one of my favorite actually because they were very beautiful, and I always root for the praise, sorry not sorry. So they were really lovely. Okay, now we are going out of Tsavo Park. Right now we are out of it, and our guides have taken us to visit a Maasai village. The Maasai is the biggest tribe in Kenya, and sadly it was confined to a very smaller area by the British troops that invaded the country in the first year of the 20th century. Maasai is a semi-nomadic tribe which lives by herding cattle and goats. Unlike other tribes, they stick to their tradition. They live in circular villages where in the center there is a fence for the cattle, so to protect them from wild animals. And their houses are built by the women and are designed for people on the move, so they're made of natural materials like wood, water, mud, cow dung, and even human urine. They told us that they eat only 3 things: meat, milk, and blood from the cattle. We also met the children of the village and gave them some presents. If you are considering visiting Kenya, please take with you from home pens, toys, notebooks, and or clothes for the children because they will appreciate it a lot. So Maasai tribes live very near to the parks, and in this case we are talking about the Amboseli Park, which will be the last park we are going to visit during our safari. So right now we are in Amboseli, which has its own ecosystem, which is halfway between Kenya and Tanzania, and it's a much smaller park than Tsavo. It's 392 square kilometers, but for this reason it's so much easier to spot animals, so it was a magic experience to visit it. And on a clear day you could see the Kilimanjaro from here, but unfortunately today it's too cloudy. But don't worry, because I'll show it to you in a little bit. because Kilimanjaro is the highest single freestanding mountain above sea level in the world. So it's a big deal. Amboseli comes from a Maasai word that means salty dust, and it's one of the best places to see elephants up close. In fact, there are more than 1,000 of them here. And what's really different about this park is the presence of little lakes and drinking holes where the animals gather around. And there were also a lot of flamingos and other colorful birds here, thanks to that. And it was a nice goodbye, because this is our last park. And yes, it was sad, because I really enjoyed this trip. I really love all the safari parks, and I also enjoyed the jeep, even if it was bumpy and everything. But now I'm ready to say goodbye to the savannah and to the animals here, because right now we have a 12 hours drive towards the coast, specifically towards Watamu, where we will relax for a few days in a nice and quiet resort. But I preferred the lodges in the savannah, even if they were less comfortable. So those elephants, I think it's the most beautiful and crazy animal to see in the savannah is are elephants, because they were like big animals. They are very big animals, and Amboseli was full of them. So I think I fell in love of elephants even more after this trip. Here's the Kilimanjaro, as you can see. Here it is. So we were able to see it during our trip towards the resort and the coast. And it seems like a very long road trip, like I told you, 12 hours. But it was fun. It was a fun trip, thanks to the bumpy road and the friends we have made on the jeep. As you can see from the jeep windows, the environment and vegetation are changing. Everything is greener and more humid, and we can see a lot of villages, and you can see little cities and some markets. It was a super interesting trip, actually. It didn't seem so long at all. It was nice watching the change of landscape and vibes during this trip. And I couldn't record too much because again the road was bumpy and it was difficult. In Watamu, as you can see, when we arrived, this was our destination. The beach was breathtaking with its white sand and unique sea flora and fauna of the Indian Ocean. Our resort was like 20 minutes by walk from the famous Sardinia 2 beach, Sardinia 2, which is this super wet stripe of sand that comes out when the tide is low, so you have to wait until around 1 p.m. and then you can walk from the beach to the middle of the sea, actually. Was like crazy. The first time that I experienced something like that. I am happy, as you can see. In our resort, we had, oh, here's me with the channel t-shirt. We could book some excursions on our hotel, so we decided to go for the blue safari. On these excursions, we were taken to an incredible white beach by boat, and we had lunch there. Fresh fish that was fished by the fishermen that morning. Such an honor. And the sea was so clear, and the beach was surrounded by mangroves. It felt like an edited photo in a magazine. And later we were taken to a special spot in the sea that was full of fish, and they gave us masks so we could snorkel. It was really incredible. It's like incredible the variety of landscapes, colors, animals, vegetation, and climate of Kenya. It was crazy. We have seen like a lot of changing. And I realize now that our safari didn't stop in the parks, because safari means journey, and I felt on a constant journey from the moment I stepped off the airplane to the moment I came back to Italy. This was so much more than a trip, and I hope I was able to share with you this feeling.